If you want to make big money with your business, you've got to stop selling services. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you should be selling to get paid 10 times more than what you are now. And I've even got a real world example that I'm going to walk you through, so stick around. Marketing yourself as someone that just offers services like web design or marketing is just begging for low-paying clients. Now, sure, you can find success this way, but you're marketing to the wrong type of people. These prospects have what I call low-budget motivation. They aren't desperate for any type of solution. They're just interested in a general service. There's almost no urgency behind these motivations. And that's important because clients' motivations dictate their budget. All right, so here's an example. Let's say you have a prospect that comes to you and says, I need a new pretty website because my current one is looking a bit old and outdated. If this person is only motivated by the look and appearance of a new site, they're not likely to spend a lot of money. That's a very low budget motivation. They're not desperate to achieve some end goal or outcome, and they don't really correlate your work with some sort of financial benefit or upside. So you can still sign these clients and still make pretty good money from them, but it's going to be much easier if you find this second type of client. Client number 2 is spending about $10,000 per month on Google Ads, but their website funnel is broken and feels janky. They're literally bleeding money because their ads just aren't converting well and they're not getting a lot of leads. And even when someone does manage to make it through their funnel and fill out a contact form, their follow-up process is mediocre at best and they lose most of the leads that do come through. And because of this, they're about to shut down their ads altogether. So in this scenario, the prospect has very high budget motivations, and a solution has massive financial upside for this business. Not only will we help them save the money that they're wasting on Google Ads, but we would be helping them convert more leads, which would generate new revenue. So this prospect is going to be much more likely to spend a lot of money because they know they're going to make a lot of money. They're not just doing this to look good, they're doing this to make money. So here's how I would approach this. Let's break it down into a few steps. Step 1 is you have to find a problem that needs fixing. I found this prospect by a quick Google search in my area. Opportunities like this are everywhere. All you have to do is look around. Now, step 2 is convincing that prospect to hire you to solve their problem. Now, on my channel, I've got tons of videos on selling and closing clients, so we're not going to go too deep on that. But the most important thing to remember is desperate clients are always easier to sell. They feel the urgency, they want to move fast, and even if they already have another company, they're going to be open and willing to switch because they're likely unsatisfied. So if you can find prospects that have real problems that need solving, you're going to be surprised at how easy it is to close them. Now, once they agree to hire you, step 3 is to solve their problem. So like I mentioned before, I found this prospect through a simple Google search. They're running ads for EV charger installs. Now, I was curious to find out just how much they were paying on these ads, and while I didn't get exact numbers, I did ask ChatGPT to tell me kind of general ranges of cost per click for these specific keywords. And it's very likely that they're spending anywhere from $5 to $25 per click. So that's a lot of money. They're spending hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars per day to run this ad. Now, when people click on this ad, this is the flow that they're going through. So they land on this main page. It's not terrible. It says electric vehicle charger installation in Utah. I'm not a huge fan of the style and the layout, but I'm sure that this page can convert well enough. But the big problem is when they click on the book appointment button, it takes them to this page, which is an absolute mess. As you scroll through this page, it looks completely broken. There's no styles. The logo takes up the entire page, and if they want to get to the place where they can actually book their appointment, they have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Now, even when they do book their appointment, all they get is this notification that says you've requested an appointment. Nothing is finalized, and then it says our office will call you shortly to confirm. So I went through this process just to see what it's like, and a few minutes later, I received a phone call from an unknown number, and I didn't even answer it because I wasn't sure who it was. They left a message and said, "Hey Peyton, we got your form submission. We know that you're interested in a charger install. Please call us back." And then that was the end of the flow. So other than this page, which is looking pretty rough, the flow's not terrible. At least they have some sort of follow-up sequence, but it's still not very strong. So I decided that they needed a better solution to convert on this traffic at a much higher rate. So here is what I came up with. This is the new landing page, and it is much more specific to the location. So you'll see that it mentions Lehi, Utah. EV charger installation in 24 hours or less, starting at $299. So this already is resolving a couple of the concerns that I have as someone needing an electric charger. This is actually a scenario that I was put in when I moved into my current house. And by the time I moved down here, my car was really low battery. So I was anxious to get a charger installed as quickly as possible. So by adding the fact that we do this in 24 hours or less, that's a huge benefit to people. Now I've added a few other things here. I've got some social proof. I've added the call to action, which now is see pricing and schedule install. And before I show you what happens when they click this button, I just want to mention that I added a few bullets here at the bottom, which hopefully will resolve a few additional concerns. There are common concerns with every product or service, and so the earlier that you can resolve those, the better. So this already is going to convert a lot better than what they had before, and when you click on the main call to action, it's going to take them into the funnel. This process is going to allow them to select their car and their model, and then click see pricing. It's then going to tell them the exact pricing. It's going to show them what they're going to get. It's going to tell them the cost for the actual charger, the installation, the total due after service, and then they can click pick installation date. That is then going to take them to the calendar where they can select a date, a time, and confirm appointment. So already this flow is a lot more user-friendly. It feels a lot more trustworthy and official. And once they select this, it's going to take them to a confirmation page. So this is going to tell them the date and the time, and then we also added a section here for common questions. The common question that I had when I was getting my charger installed was, I won't be home for my appointment. So if they click on this, it'll either take them to a quick article, a video, something to explain an easy workaround for this problem. But adding these things is just going to ensure that people follow through with their appointment. So as you go through this process, this is where your expertise is going to come into play, because you want to think through every potential concern, every potential issue, hold up, bottleneck, and then you want to address those during this process. If you can get people to the point where they know the price, they've scheduled an exact appointment and a time, you've got all of their information, it's going to be much more difficult for them to cancel or just not show up. But to make sure that our conversions are even higher, we're then going to put them into some sort of automation where they receive text and email confirmations about their scheduled appointment, and then also reminders. I would recommend maybe reminders the day before, the morning of, and then once your technician is on their way. This is really nice because it's impossible for them to forget if they're constantly getting reminders. And then if you want to go the extra mile, you could even help with some sort of trained upsell. Now, I don't know exactly what that would be in the electrical space, but something where you could train their technician once they get there to have another offer, maybe something that's a bit higher ticket, some way to maybe save them on energy cost, something that makes the charger more efficient. Something like that is a really great upsell just to make sure that every lead is worth even more. So by looking at these two funnels, you can see the difference in overall experience for the user. And this is what people are going to be willing to pay you for. They don't just want to pay you for a pretty new website or just to pay you to do some SEO every month. What they want is real life results. And so implementing something like this is going to require a lot more than just web design skills. You're going to have to understand design, development, copywriting. You're going to have to use a bunch of different no-code tools to piece together the perfect funnel. But this is where real value is for your clients. And they're much more likely to pick you to implement something like this than a general local web designer that can just build them a nice new website. And the last thing you have to do, which is step 4, is just track those results and then report on them. You need to connect the dots for your client. You need to show them that the work that you did led to these results. And you can track those results on Google Analytics or the analytics of whatever ad platform that they're using. Helping a client see the results of your work is going to leave them satisfied. They're much more likely to leave you a good review, and they're more likely to continue to pay you and hire you for other services. And on top of that, it also provides everything you need to put together really great case studies, which is going to make it way easier for you to land new clients in the future because you can show them all of your past clients and the exact improvements and results that you got for them. So this whole process doesn't have to be complex. Putting together this type of solution or funnel is actually pretty easy. And if you have any questions on how to do that or what tools to use, just drop those down in the comments and I'll give you my suggestions. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you'll stick around to watch new videos coming in the near future. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.